I keep finding myself doing this, like an evil genius.
I noticed that on our last video when I was editing it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to CostuMoms. This is episode 4, in which we'll be discussing taking a break or why Capricorns have zero chill. As always, I'm Cait, and this is...
I'm Amber. We are really excited to have you guys along, and thank you guys so very much for all of your outpouring of support for our first couple episodes. We are recording this 2 weeks early from the air date, so we're coming off the high of COVID, and I don't know about Cait, but I was not expecting as many people to simply view any of our videos that's just us kind of blabbing to each other. The amount of response and the engagement that you guys have come to us and told us how awesome you thought it is that we're doing this, and about the topics that you want to see, and just telling us about yourselves. It's amazing, because I honestly didn't realize there were that many of you out there. I knew there was a lot.
Right. But the number of messages we got, and comments, but mostly messages for me, was overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, it was, and it's just so nice to know that now this almost silent community or unseen community can finally hey, we're here, we have needs, let's talk about the things that we need to get out, because there's no other resources for it. So anyway, we're really excited that this has happened, and due to the massive amount of response, we decided to create an Instagram, and we also now have a dedicated email. So instead of messaging us to our personal Instagrams or trying to get a hold of us in other means, you can funnel all of that to the CostuMoms email, which is costumoms@gmail.com. Not that hard to remember. But yeah, so we're not sure kind of what the trajectory of this is. Because like I had said before, it was just an inkling in my brain. I'm like, hey, let's record it and see what happens. So.
And now that we're going to do episode 4, it might not be a catastrophe.
It might not.
We'll see. I think we're doing all right. We're getting there.
I hope.
Generally speaking, how are you doing, Amber?
I'm doing okay. I had a pretty good week. I'm not necessarily riding a COVID high. I'm just riding the fact that I paid off my credit card for the first time in I think 6 years.
God.
Yeah, I'm certainly not proud of it, but the fact that I held it for that long.
You did do it, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so that finally happened. The Longbourn frock pattern finally was launched. I am done with it. Now I'm just waiting on the printers to send me the printed version so I can send it out for the pre-orders. Yeah, I'm tired, but I'm in a good state of mind. So I'm waiting for the anvil to drop. Something's going to happen that's going to knock me down from this high, I guess is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
The anvil is just going to go bam and squish my spirit.
Squish your spirit? Please don't.
I'm just I'm more on the pessimistic side most of the time. So whenever I'm feeling good, I'm like, oh no, something bad is really going to happen.
Oh no.
So anyway, preparing for the worst. How are you?
I'm okay. I also do this thing in which I assume the worst is going to happen and then hope for the best.
Okay.
But yeah. Generally okay. I had the most ridiculous time at CocoVid because I put out, combined with you and with Alive, I did 7 videos.
Insane. I could not believe that you put
that was a choice that I made, but generally it went pretty well. So now I tried to take the week off last week, and didn't, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, so now I'm back to work today, and I'm all right. I'm a little tired, but that's
okay. Well, you did amazing with CocoVid.
Okay.
When I realized, I watched your intro to what you were doing for CocoVid, and it didn't register just the immensity of what you were doing for this thing. And I'm just props to you, man.
That was a bit much, but
well, if it happens next year, you'll know what to do and what not to do, right?
I'll probably do 10 next year, honestly. Knowing me, I'll be like, oh, well, I made it through 7.
Hopefully we'll have more time to prepare for that one.
Right? Yeah, I think I started preparing about a week and a half out, so that was not great.
What?
Yeah.
There's my husband again.
Hello.
He's doing yard work.
Yeah, I kept having other things needing to be done first, and then by the time they were done, I was like, oh, CocoVid is in 2 weeks. So
yeah, that's how almost every project of mine that has a deadline is. Like, I forget that there is a deadline somehow. Like, I know it's there, but it's not right there in front of me. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, I'll do this. I'll make a pie. I'll do this. I'll make a duck, like whatever. And before I know it, I've got 2 days to finish this immense project. But you did it, which is the most important part. And it's amazing what you did. And I really enjoyed watching your videos. Well, so for those of you that aren't necessarily privy to what CocoVid is, over the weekend, well, not this past weekend, but I guess the timing is irrelevant. Instead of doing costume college because of the quarantine, there was a huge outpouring of costumers, meaning costuming YouTubers, that put together this conference type of thing with panels and videos. So definitely check out the hashtag and see some interesting costuming content, because there's a lot out there now.
There's so much. There was like almost 150 videos, and I know that Noelle of Costuming Drama has a whole playlist of everything.
Okay.
That's a good resource too.
Yeah, we'll link that below so people can at least like find it. But yeah, it's crazy cool.
It was fun, but now I think we need to get into your very favorite thing, the whip report. What are you working on now that we're through that?
Yeah. So right now I am finishing up some stuff for business things. So that's been taking up a lot of my brain space. But what's been so frustrating is I'm working on this Edwardian bustle pad. And by the time this video comes out, it should be about ready to launch. And it's a replica of an original that I found. It's in my collection. So I've got so many cords. So I ended up replicating the pattern, putting the pattern back together. So now people can have their own Scott bustle pad from 1900. And, but in putting on like the different undergarments to see how my test mock-up would look, I realized that my shape is now so much different than even just prior to, or even just before this pregnancy. It's just changed so much. I mean, I carried very differently this time. So my body has changed. My boobs are bigger. My hips are bigger. There's a lot that I have to fix with my corsets because they just don't fit right. I feel like everything is up too high. I'm uncomfortable. Things pinch. So now all I can think about is an Edwardian 1903 corset that I need to make myself. And I don't need it, but I have to have it. So I think what I'm going to do is after I finish like the pattern itself and it gets out to the testers, I'm going to at least pattern out this corset so I can get those thoughts on paper. And then hopefully I won't have to like pick it up for a few weeks. Cause I've got some other things that are more eminent. Like my husband, likes me to make him button up shirts. Like he buys the fabric for them, and his birthday is coming up and I have been late every single time.
Oh no.
Getting these shirts to him. I am gosh darn determined that I'm going to get it to him in time this time. So that is the next thing. But yeah, Edwardian fever dreams are like 100% on my mind. And I would be in Prince Edward Island right now if it weren't for all of this, which I wouldn't have been ready.
Right.
Like maybe if I pushed myself, I would have had like a couple of things, but I wouldn't have had the wardrobe that I wanted. Right. So yeah, Edwardian fever dreams.
I've told you before that I'm going to accidentally just arrive on PEI when you guys be like, oh, hey, fancy meeting you guys here. Because I've made a couple of things for some of the people that are going, the Edwardian drawers and things. And I'm actually about to start another one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm doing some drawers. Have you seen, I'm sure you have, who hasn't, the combinations in the Met? They're very lacy and frilly.
Yeah.
So I'm making those, but as drawers only.
Oh, okay.
I
so
bought
just like
lace.
Really fancy drawers.
Really fancy drawers,
Do you know how much lace, like what's the yardage that you've calculated so far?
So it's roughly this much lace. Oh wait, there's more. Hold on. And this much too. Yeah. So
yay!
They're going to be super roughly. And I also have some satin ribbon to go through that is mint green, not turquoise. So
okay,
trying that. But first I have to finish up what I'm actually working on, which is a 1490s Italian Renaissance fluffy shift.
That's so cool.
I'm excited about it because I've done it twice before. And the last time I did it wrong so many times. I've now like figured out the quickest way to go about all the tiny gathers and everything. So
okay. So what is the difference between like the main major difference construction wise between a 1490s and the ones that are like a little bit later? Because like I know what a 1600 shift looks like, but I don't know what a 1490s one would be.
I think they're pretty much the same for a really long time.
Okay.
Until you get to like late 17th century, they start to be more controlled. But basically, the first time I made one of these, I thought I was doing it wrong because it's so much fabric.
Okay.
It being like this big T shape, there's no like side gores or anything. It's just a hunk of fabric with 2 freaking sleeves, and then magically you create a neckline. So I gather mine to a small band as the neck. It's just a lot.
It sounds really fiddly. Like even though it's like a basic garment.
Well, if you do, a lot of people just do a drawstring in the neckline to cheat. Well, not cheat, but it makes it go faster. But I'm doing stroke gathers all the way.
That means it'll be super pretty, though.
They're very pretty. I really, really like the one I did last time. So, should we get into the topic?
We probably should.
Should. Yeah. Amber, when was the last time you took a break?
So I don't even know. When you pose this question as like the topic for this video, I think I probably actively thought about it for at least 20 minutes before I realized that I don't. Like, I don't take breaks. My breaks are sleeping. Sometimes.
If you sleep.
Well, I'm thinking about the projects that I'm doing while I'm sleeping.
Right. But you're also staying up all night.
I know, like last night. But yeah, I don't take breaks because me personally, and I know that you're productivity driven as well. Like, and I call that being a productarian. Like, if I have an opportunity where there's like a break, I'm like, oh man, there's time to do something else.
Yeah.
Do I need to learn how to make lace? No. But if I don't have a project scheduled for like that week, I'm like, maybe I could learn how to like oil paint. Maybe. So it's just ridiculous. Like my brain is always going, always trying to think of the next thing, and I'm a 90%er. So I get to that like 90% mark where I've like intensely worked on this thing, and then I'm like, I have to put a closure on this. I don't really feel like that.
We're just gonna leave it for now.
So I need to take out that like hem and redo the hem. So that's me, but I don't know, like, how does your brain work when it comes to that stuff?
My brain doesn't understand the concept of a break because, like I said before, I was supposed to take the week off last week. On day 1 of my week off, what did I do all day? What did I do? Oh, I made some stuff like, I did housewife kits. I made a bunch of housewife kits on day 1 of my week off. Mm-hmm. Day 2, I filled a couple of orders, and by a couple, I mean 2 dozen. And then I cleaned my apartment. And then day 3, my husband was home and was like, you're supposed to be off this week. You go to bed.
Oh, so yeah.
I did, but I was working on my phone doing other stuff. And then, by Thursday, I was just like, oh, my week off has gone.
I know. You kept texting me the stuff that you were doing. I'm thinking like, wait.
It just doesn't compute in my head because I'm always thinking if I'm not working, I should be working on something else that
Right.
it's a problem. But I mean, we're both the same way, right?
Yeah.
More or less.
So, like, what do you think contributes to that? Like, do you think that it's a mom thing, or do you think that it's just a you thing? Like, that's just how your brain is wired?
Allow me to share with you why none of this is your fault or my fault.
Oh.
This is called a star chart or a birth chart and has all of your various star signs on it.
Okay. I can't see it very well. Let's put it up again. You should have shared this with me, like sent it to me before.
But I don't want to.
I have no idea what I'm looking at. I wouldn't be able to decipher this if I wanted to.
Well, so I am only vaguely into astrology, but
Okay.
I do know that I am a Capricorn. And that means, well, not for everyone, but I'm like the most stereotypical Capricorn that you'll ever meet. So for me, Capricorn means feet on the ground, eye on the prize, right? There is no stopping. There's no chill. And when you feel like you need to chill, that means that you're obviously supposed to be doing something else. But for you, you're a Pisces, right?
I am.
You're a Pisces, which generally doesn't mean that you'd be a workaholic. But then that's why I did your whole birth chart, because I made you let me do it. That I was like, there's got to be Capricorn in there somewhere. And you have more Capricorn in your chart than I do.
Oh.
You have the Pisces sun sign. So that means you're very solo. There's a lot of stuff in Pisces that's not related to this, but it does kind of like a solo creature. But you also need like other people, but that's irrelevant.
Okay, so the sun sign is just when you're born, like the date.
The date, yeah, and it's for some people it's your most like visible part of your personality.
Okay. Well, I have talked to people where they're like, "Oh yeah, you're a Pisces, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I'm just a fish.
You're a fish. See, I have a Pisces moon sign, which is like you're kind of like Pisces sun and your sun sign and your moon sign are like the main two most people would know if they were even vaguely into astrology.
Okay.
For me, being a Capricorn means I'm kind of like a little standoffish, a little bit of a workaholic. And then the Pisces is like super emotional. So I'm just mad that I'm emotional because it's like, I don't want to do that. That Pisces part of me is annoying. But for you, you have an Aries moon, which means you're impatient as heck. So you want to get stuff done like this, right? Mm-hmm. But then your Venus is in Capricorn also, but we don't need to talk about that because this is not that kind of show. Rough life stuff.
Okay.
Mars in Capricorn means you have a controlled style, low key but very determined energy.
That is
you
very
are
true.
An achiever by nature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to quote from this. I'm going to link the website that I use down below just because it made it easier for me.
Okay.
That with Mars in Capricorn, not particularly flashy people, but their drive to succeed and make their life secure is strong. Powerful need to stay in control. So it may be that by doing all this stuff, you're trying to control the trajectory of your business and your life.
Okay. Interesting.
Uranus is in Capricorn for you too, which means your mission in society and in the world can mean everything to you. So just like your Virgil's Fine Goods or whatever is in your head all the time. And that's your mission.
Yeah.
Right? Neptune in Capricorn for you means you're sensible, but
wait, is literally everything else Capricorn?
No, there's 12 things.
Okay.
And half of yours are in Capricorn.
Oh my.
Yeah. So it's just all these other things are affecting your little
my Pisces-ness
over here, but the back of your head it's also Capricorn. Do the things, do all the things, do the things now. Yeah.
Okay. That is definitely how I'm geared.
Yeah, it just makes me feel a little bit better because Capricorns generally have a bad reputation as being jerks or workaholic career people.
Okay.
But that's not necessarily all it means. It could also mean that they're just really driven. They don't have a lot of time for nonsense. They want to get stuff done because they want to achieve things.
Okay.
And so you have much of that in your chart. So the fact that you can't take a break is not your fault, Amber. It's just you're fired.
Because I was born when I was born.
Exactly. As a disclaimer, Amber thinks all of this is nonsense.
I just don't know anything about it because I grew up a very evangelical Christian. So that stuff was not that was as far away from anything that we would talk about. Right. Because like we were at church literally all the time. When I was homeschooled, we were literally at the church because my mom volunteered. So like the stuff that I have like followed, like I know that I'm an ENFP. And then what's the other thing? There's like there's this thing called Strengths Finder, which I might have you take because I find it very interesting.
Okay. This had nothing to do with my upbringing because I was raised Catholic, and like I realized that Catholicism is basically pagans for Christians. But this all came from my teenage rebellion time.
Okay.
Which never fully went away. But a really good friend of mine that I lived with in Washington while we were there, she's very into this stuff.
Okay.
And so it kind of was always in my head. Like
gotcha.
she was making fun of me the other day because I was really mad that I had emotions about CocoVid.
Okay.
And because I did my shift video as a premiere, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sitting there with people watching it and they're liking it, and I wasn't expecting that. And then I started crying, which I don't do. Crying is He's like, that's the most Capricorn Pisces thing I've ever heard. You're emotional about work success. And I was like, oh, stop.
Yeah. Huh. That's funny that you say that because I also hate being emotional.
I don't like
it. But I am full of emotion. And if you have ever met anyone on my dad's side of the family, you're like, whoa, that's a lot of emotions.
My husband's family's that way.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing bad about it. It's just like, they don't worry about showing it.
Right.
Me, my whole family is like,
yeah.
Here. You know.
Yeah, my mom and I are more of the same where we have to cut off like the emotional side of us in order to make a decision. So ever since I was little, I remember being like, no, bam, can't cry, doors up. I got to make a decision right now. And then later I would feel those emotions on my own, in my room, away from everybody. No one will see me cry.
There'll be no witnesses to my emotions. Well,
but anyway.
You should do mom's chart too. Maybe that she's got a bunch of Capricorn in her chart. You just don't know.
Mom is a Taurus, I think, technically.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll talk about this at another time.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about our parents' star charts later.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I have
but anyway, back to the topic of taking breaks. We can't change that trajectory, I guess.
We can't. I mean, I joke and say that, oh, it's just because I'm a Capricorn, but what it really comes down to is I have a million jobs, right? I'm mom, wife, accountant, cleaning human. I don't know. The person the cook, the meal planner, all the things. And then my work is over here. So like when I finish my work,
yeah,
I go to my mom work, and then somewhere in there, I'm a costumer. So every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I should do something for myself. Mm-hmm. But then I feel guilty because, like, I'm leaving the laundry undone, or I'm not putting this order out, even though it was ordered like 20 minutes ago. Like, that's I don't know. I just can't shake the workaholic nature.
Right. Do you remember a time though when you took breaks?
Yes.
Like unrelated to costuming, just like when you would take a break.
On purpose?
Yeah.
No, not really. Even before costuming, even before having a kid, unless I was having like some mental health issues, I was like, go, do something.
Yeah.
I think I probably took breaks before I had a child.
Okay.
But I don't remember that very well.
Right.
Seems like I don't think I'm wired that way.
Right. Yeah, and it's hard because like breaks are totally needed. Yeah. Like you need to take breaks. Now, my breaks, I would say, have taken the form of just putting something down and going to another thing to break the cycle of me thinking about this thing over here.
Yeah.
So, I'm really good at burning myself out because I have, which you can't see behind us, but like I have so many things on my plate all the time. I love it that way. Like that's how I want my life to be. I want to always have some sort of project in the works. I want like I've got wine downstairs that I'm making.
You're making wine?
Yeah, I'm making apple wine. I haven't tried it yet. I'm supposed to open it this week. But like I'm making apple wine, a country wine brandy downstairs. And we're going to be making salsa here in a couple weeks with the tomatoes in the garden. And like I have so many things on my plate, but I'm really good at burning myself out. So like piano. I used to be a pianist. I played every day for a really, 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 really long time. And I decided at one point, it was like, I'm going to focus on other things and I'll come back to this. So I've technically taken a break for the last 3 years. No piano. And it's weird to go back to it because I'll start playing and it's like, oh yeah, I can remember like the first couple sequences of this Bach concerto. Yeah, cool. I can play that part, but I can't remember anything else.
I wonder if that is like a subconscious fear in my head, because the last time I took a break, like for real, was when I took a break from writing when I had my daughter.
Okay.
I haven't written a single thing since then.
Okay.
I'm wondering, like, if I take a break, is it over? Which is ridiculous, but I don't know.
Well, I view everything as like, if you take a break, an extended break. So say you're taking a sabbatical or whatever from this like one thing that you've been working on. When you come back to it, you're able to come to it with like a fresh sense of self. But it's been like years, it's going to be harder to get back into it. But it will come back as long as you don't have like a brain injury. It should come back to you.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Well,
I don't think that you've talked about your writing at all yet. I mean, we're only in episode 4, but
no, we don't need to talk about that. I didn't say I was a good writer.
Did you do like NaNoWriMo or anything like that?
Yeah, and some of my friends are still doing that, and that's
cool.
how I did them, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, but it just, once I got pregnant, my brain was just kind of like,
right.
So, and I don't know, by the time I had her, anytime I did take a break, it was like, ooh, I'm going to play a video game for like 5 minutes. But the problem is, once I start playing, I think I get like weirdly addicted to not freaking out, and then I can't stop playing.
Okay.
So I'm almost afraid to like start taking a break, because then that whole other mental shift happens, and then all of a sudden I don't want to go back to work, which is it's very rare, but it has happened. Where I'm like, oh, I'd rather stay here on the couch than get 8 million things in my office. So I'm just gonna lock the door and walk away. But it's so rare. Most of the time I'm just like, okay, next thing.
Right. Yeah, even immediately after I had the baby and when quarantine happened, I thought, oh great, more time to do stuff.
Yeah. I remember you saying like you felt itching to go do something, even when you just had her.
I know.
Get ready to go, and I'm just kind of like, take a nap.
Well, and it has contributed. So that type of mentality, I know that like with the way that our society is geared, productivity is a lot of times linked to what your worth, like what people view your worth as being. And so now anymore, those that aren't geared, like, because I'm a list checker. Like, I put every single step on a list just so I can cross it off, because that keeps that productivity part of my brain happy.
Right.
Like that little bit, bam, bam, bam. I've gotten to where I can disassociate my worth with productivity. More so my daily happiness is really all that's affected with my productivity. And this doesn't go for things that have a due date, but just like yesterday, I was so excited because it was Sunday. Why? That's when I plan out my week. I literally look at my calendar and I write everything in my planner that's already in my calendar. And then I go through and I figure out what the highs are, what the lows are, temperature, if it's going to rain that day, so I can figure out when I can work on outdoor projects. And I literally just like write it all down and I'm all happy. And then as the week goes on, I just cross things off. And if I don't get to it, I've gotten now to where it's not as big of a deal. Like, it makes me happy to get it done, but you just like, that's a really hard thing for a lot of people to break, is that like, if I don't get this stuff done, I'm a failure. And that's not how you should ever feel with the productivity side. I see that you Did I strike a nerve?
I don't know if I can count on all of my limbs and fingers and toes the number of times I've said I'm a failure in the last month.
Oh no!
It's a big issue for me.
Then you do need a break, girl.
Really, which is why I took last week off, except I didn't.
Right. So since you don't take breaks, like, are there other things that you do to recharge yourself that kind of have taken the place of a break?
Yeah, the whole thing about self-care
Mhm.
it's for some people it means like doing a spa day or getting a massage. For me, self-care is doing the stuff I'm supposed to do. So like showering or sleep or drinking water. So I've tried to fit in all these things that I know are better for me and healthy for me, like
Okay.
when I take my insulin and stuff like that. Like I'm just taking a couple of seconds to do something that's going to keep me alive, but I'm also not working in that moment. So I'm just like
Okay.
I try to work, or like for showers, I put on a podcast and I like take a longer shower than probably necessary just to sort of force myself to chill for a bit. So
Okay.
I need to get a little better about this. But for me, it's just I'm turning normal activities into like self-care / break time.
Yeah. That I've talked to some other moms that's what they do. And once you've established and you've figured out like that thing, then you should figure out something else on top of that that's not just keeping yourself alive.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting there. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's baby steps because like the whole being a parent and having like other people dependent on you or animals or anything dependent on you, there's this weird guilt like, oh, I should be doing something for
Right.
them. Yeah, getting over that guilt is really hard.
Right, like, where in this society did it become like moms taking a shower is a luxury, right?
Right.
But it kind of is, unless
Mhm.
you're some magical person who's well balanced and normal. I don't know, but like for so long, I think the one of the reasons I'm such a workaholic is because we've been like my husband and I were long distance for a while, and then
Okay.
he deployed after that. It's been just me. There has been no help. So like when he got back, he's like watching me take the trash out, and he's like, "I can do that." And I'm like, "No, I got it." Maybe asking for help is a good thing,
Yeah.
but I'm still remembering that I can do that.
Yeah, that's amazing that you're able to do that. Like
To do
to do it all.
Oh,
Like
that's the thing though. Like if you try to do it all for too long, you lose your mind and then you get burnout and then you crash. And that happened to me last year for a
okay.
bit. Like after costume college, there was a couple of weeks there where I was like, I'm zombie. Why
Right.
I just like kind of stumble around and whatever. And I don't want to get to that point again. So that's why I'm trying to be better about normal physical and healthy activities that keep
Right.
and trying to ask for help. So
Well, that's good. I mean, that is a break in and of itself. If you just like ask for help for something, you don't have to do that thing if somebody else can take it off of your plate. So, I mean, that's a form of a break. I don't know. It's different for everybody, and I mean, we are both geared a certain way on the productivity side, and there's nothing wrong with taking a break from your normal day if like all you can get done in a day's time are the things that help keep you alive. That's good.
yep.
Sometimes you need a break from that too. So like everyone should really take it, you know, and figure out what taking a break means for them.
Right. Even if
But
it's
they're
5 minutes.
right. It's just so important.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I'm just going to say, I want to point out that the way that I live my life is not to be modeled, please. Please do as we say and not as we do, because I know that I have an issue with taking breaks and I'm trying to be better about it, which is why I made the plan to take a week off last week, even though it only ended up being 2 days off. But I did
Right.
take those 2 days off when a couple of months ago I wouldn't have. I would have just ignored the entire thing. I wouldn't have even thought about taking a week off. So, baby steps, like you said, we need to get better.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible workaholic.
Well, people in the comments, our listeners should definitely tell us like if they're able to take breaks, things that they do to like recharge themselves. Because I know that I need ideas. I need to find ways that are not me making a thing or doing a thing.
Right. That still makes
And
me feel productive and like it would be nice to get to a point where taking a break feels productive because you're recharging yourself, you know?
Right. It's like a shift in your brain. Like you have to think of it as this is an important productivity driven thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to have to do. So anyway, yeah, everybody tell us what you do to take breaks, or if you don't take breaks. Hopefully some people in the comments can, help guide those of you that also need help in that area, because it's a much wider spread problem than people want to admit, I think.
Yeah, for sure. We're supposed to inspire these people. Do you have an inspiration recommendation this week?
Woohoo! No, this is for you.
Oh, I'm the one with the inspiration recommendation.
Yes.
That's right. Okay, so one thing that I did on the small amount of time that I set aside for myself last week is catch up on COVID, which we kind of talked about a little bit. But I've been really enjoying specifically the live panels, and more specifically in the panic room with Noelle and Marika, which I know you watched also.
I did, yep.
They're just so fun to hang out with, you guys.
They are awesome. So I was able, I don't know if that was the first time you had met both of them at Coco as well.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay, so we both met them at CocoVid 2019, or Coco 2019.
No relation to CocoVid officially.
No. But anyway, they are so much fun. I wish that we could have hung out with them more. There's just so much happening at Costume College. Like, I really feel like I need to have an extra 2 days on one side of the event, or like in order to just like see and talk to people. But both of them are amazing costumers. They put out amazing content. And that particular one, the panic room, I was laughing literally the whole time. Like I was working on a separate project listening to it, and I was laughing the whole stinking time because they're just so funny.
They're great. But now I'm still thinking about, is a hot dog a sandwich?
This is a good question. So Noelle is not going to like my answer because it is not a sandwich. It just can't be.
Taco. But then I told her that, and she said, "But is a taco a sandwich?" And I was like, "Get out of here, please leave me alone."
No, I kind of view it more as like a wrap.
Yeah,
like it's a sandwich hybrid.
It is. That question kept me up that night, though. Not
I've already had my stance for a while. What I was not prepared for is a lasagna a cake.
That shook me to my core.
Me too. Because I was like, well, wait, you can make lasagna cake, but you can't find a lasagna in a cake shop.
I almost feel like a cake is a lasagna, though.
Well, there you go. Anyway.
Inspiration, you should go listen to them on UFOs and really life-shattering questions.
Yes. So in conclusion, do as we say, not as we do.
Do not do as we do.
Try and take breaks. Figure out what you can do to take a break.
Maybe one of you will have like the magic solution to Capricorns being Capricorns.
I so hope so, because I struggle real hard with it.
Yep. I suppose I shall wrap up today.
Okay.
Since I made everyone listen to my astrology nonsense.
I thought it was fun.
So if you like this nonsense that we do, please subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video and comment. We do want to hear from you. We like to hear your suggestions. I've gotten so many comments and messages, and so has Amber, that tell us about your life story, which is fascinating. And it's interesting to see how much of your life matches what we go through. So it's really fascinating. So please comment, send us a message if you want to our new email, which I will link right here somewhere, and follow us on social media. You can find me literally everywhere as Willoughby and Rose, and willoughbyandrose.com is my shop. What about you, Amber?
And you can definitely find me as Lady of the Wilderness and everything. And I have a shop called Virgil's Fine Goods, which is on Etsy. I don't know when it'll be its own thing. Sometime it will, but not right now.
Are you going to have our special guest say goodbye? Say bye. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on episode 5 in about 2 weeks.
Yep. See you then.
Bye. Emotions, and I still don't, and I'm trying to close it. Give it to me.
This is really corny and dumb.
Okay.